I'm going to show you today how to make this lovely little bracelet. It's really like a cuff as well because it's quite solid. It's all little loops of seed beads and jade, and it's all sitting on top of a square stitch base, which is made with size 8 seed beads. Could always also be size 8 delicas because they sit really nicely together. So what we need is size 8 seed beads, the little embellishments, whatever you're using on the top, size 11 seed beads, 2 jump rings, a clasp, and you will need your needle, size 10 needle, and the thread of your choice, whichever you like. There's plenty of room in these larger seed beads for the needle and the thread to go through several times. Now, what I've got here is I've started this because of time. Now, what I did I'll talk you through what I did to start with. I popped on a little stopper bead and 6 of the size 8 seed beads. So I then went back up here, adding seed beads and incorporating. Now, as you see, this is quite solid and it's quite firm. Your first couple of rows will be a little bit wobbly, as with all seed beading. So what I'm going to do is do a row so that I can show you exactly what I did. So if you pretend this is my first row of size 6 seed beads, don't know if I can do it lying down, but so you can see, but I'll try. You then pick up your next seed bead, which is going to sit on top of there like that. So your first seed bead in the previous row, you come back through towards yourself like that. Let's see if I can keep my fingers out of the way. And then that sits there nicely. And then you go back up through that last seed bead that you've put on like that. Now I'll do a row and then you can see what I've been doing. There we go, like that. So then we put another seed bead on, and this is the second seed bead in this row. So we go through the second seed bead in the previous row because that's the one it's going to sit on top of. So through there, and if I turn it round, you can see that's coming towards me. Now, this is a bit difficult lying down. I normally hold it in my hand, but hopefully you can see it a bit better doing it this way. There we go. That will sit nicely there. So what we do now is we take that thread across there between those 2 seed beads, and we go back up that last seed bead that we put on like that. I hope you can see this. There we go. Obviously, if you hold it in your hand, you do get a better tension. So now I've shown you that lying flat, I'll try and do it in my hand. So add a seed bead like that. There we go. This is the third seed bead, so we go back through this third seed bead in the previous row. There we go. And that will come and sit, if it plays ball, there, that will sit on there. As before, we bring the thread across, go back up the last seed bead we've put on there, like that. As you can see, these are all sitting nicely now next to each other. So another seed bead. This is the fourth, so we go back through the fourth in the previous row, like that. Across and back up through that last seed bead. So let's try and show you. So as you can see, they're all quite sitting nicely on top of one another like that. So there's only a couple more and then I'll show you what we do after that. So we pop another one on. This is the 5th one. So we're going to go back through that 5th one in the previous row. And this is all very repetitive, so I won't keep going through this because it takes a lot of time and it's quite boring to watch. So we then bring our thread across, go back up through that seed bead like that. Come up so you can see like that. Add another one. This is the last one of this row, so we go through the last seed bead of the previous row like that. There we go. There we go. Bring the thread across. As you can see, these are all sitting really nicely, and it makes a really, really solid base. So we pop that there, and that we've added that row. What you do now is you go all the way through the previous row. This all stabilizes it because we want it nice and firm. So come out of there, and then normally we would go, if we were continuing this, we would go through all of those, the last row again, and carry on. But in this instance, we're going to call this done, and we're going to call this the last row of our bracelet so that I can get on to show you the decoration. So in this instance, we go through the first 5 seed beads like that. Now, I'm going to face this towards me like that. What I'm going to do now is pick up 4 seed beads, one of the jades, 4 seed beads, 2, 3, 4. And to make the loop, I'm going to come back through the first one and up through the second one. So we do going through 2 at a time now, like that. And if you see that, that makes a really lovely little loop on the end there. For the next loop, we're going to use just seed beads. So I'm going to pick up 8 seed beads. How many we got there? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like that. And again, we go back through the one we're coming out of and up through the next one up. So we go in through the one we're coming out of and back up through 2. So we've now got a loop with a bead on and a loop without. Now for this first row, we'll call this the first row of the bracelet. We want to incorporate a loop to put the jump ring on. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in through, we're going to put on, say, 9 seed beads. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, and one more. Go through 9 seed beads, and then I'm going to come back through the seed beads I'm coming out of, pull that tight, but then because that's the loop, I'm going to go back through that once more to reinforce it. As I say, this only happens on the 2 end rows. The rest, the rows are all identical really. So we go through here. It is much easier, obviously, if you're holding this up, but I'm keeping it on the board because I'm trying to show you what I'm doing, basically. So there we go. Back through there. So we now have a loop that we're going to use to put a jump ring on to fasten the clasp. So we're going to go through, back through the one we've come out of, and through the next one as well. And then we're going to carry on doing our normal loops. But that's a different loop, that's reinforced, and you could do that any way you want. If you wanted to make it fancier, then you really, really could. So we've done a plain loop, so we're going to do one now with a bead on, 2, 3, 4 again, pop on a bead, find the hole, there we go, show yourself, there we go, and another 4 seed beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, there we go, back through the one we're coming out of and out through the next one along, there we go, like that. So now as you can see, we're building up these little loops. So I'll do a few more just to show you how it sits. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is just a plain loop that we're doing here. Back through the one we're coming out of and out through the end one there. There we go, like that. Now we want 4 in a bead. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull that up so you can see a bit better. A bead and 4, 1. Oh, come on, they're alive. 2, 3, 4. There we go. And in this instance, obviously, as it's the end one, we just go back through that one loop for the end, like that. Now, as you can see, that's made lots and lots of pretty little loops. What you do now is exactly the same. I like to turn it round towards me, so I'm working nearest to me, to be fair. So now what I do is take the, in fact, I'll do it. I'll take 8 seed beads, because I've just put a bead on. I'll start this row with a plain loop. Now, basically, if I can put this in very simple terms, 4, 6, 8, is we put a loop on every bead in the base. Okay, so we're now going, I'm very sorry, that's wrong. Let me retrace that. I'm really sorry. First of all, we go back through the next row, the first one in the next row. Sorry about that. There we go. Now this starts giving you more tension again. So the more you keep going through it, the more it makes it into a nice solid little sort of cuff bracelet, but a nice solid little bracelet to wear. So let's just pick these 2 up. I think you probably can see exactly where I'm going and what I'm doing now. So we've got our 8 seed beads on there. We go through that first bead, out through the second bead, and you've got your first loop on your second row, and that's how you build it up. And it's one of the most lovely, relaxing things to sit and do. I so enjoyed it. It does take a lot of time, I'm not going to deny that, but this is the lovely close look that you get with all your little loops coming out of every bead. And of course you can choose whatever colour you want for your background, because it does show through slightly, but I quite like that. Then what you do when you've finished, let me turn that over, you've made your loops, you pop a jump ring and a clasp through both ends, and there you have your lovely little loopy bracelet. Hope you like that, and I hope you give it a go, because it is time consuming, but it's very much fun to do. So I look forward to seeing any makes and your photographs that you send in.